Here we go, folks. We're going to start off with some funny stuff, a little bit of Joe Biden doing a little gaffe. Got some election news to get into and an update. And this update is only minutes old. And several things that are going on involving the whole election process. A couple little short clips, a couple little ha-ha. Stick around, folks. Guaranteed to be an entertaining show and hopefully a little bit informative as well. And if you haven't voted yet, let me know if you're going to vote on election day. The numbers are showing about 20-25% of people on Twitter are going to wait to vote last minute, which is fine considering so many have already early voted. Hopefully, that will be the threshold number we need to take this race that is virtually tied, in theory, take us over the top, considering Republicans vote on election day as a rule, at least 20-30% of them. So that, in theory, is 20-30% more votes we will get at the last minute, which we're going to need because of the overseas absentee ballot, all this kind of crazy shenanigan games they're playing in these 3 or 4 major states already, swing states. I'm talking about Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. They doing the nasty to the best of their ability. I don't think it's going to be enough, but they are definitely trying, and it is being exposed in real time here on Twitter. One thing I can say is we're not going to find out later how the race went. We're finding out in real time how the race is going because of these citizen journalists and these people exposing all the corruption and things that are going on. Now in Pennsylvania, we got some resolution this week from the Supreme Court. But at the same time, they had plenty of opportunity to run the system right, but in turn, they closed polling places early. They turned people away. They had fake poll workers in Pennsylvania. Now we find out that we've got 4 counties involved in some kind of election shenanigans that involve absentee ballots that are not applicable at the least. But we'll get into the election news pretty quick, and then we'll get into some little more warming information. This first one is just another gaffe from the great gaffe master Biden himself.
He is getting off the back entrance to Air Force One. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, he's going to hit the campaign trail.
Well, folks, he made it down the stairs. I will give him that. He did make it down the stairs, all right? Now, I believe he's heading to the vehicle, in theory.
In the Philadelphia area, he's been known, obviously, as Scranton Joe throughout his life, and he hopes to make a difference with voters in Pennsylvania this afternoon.
And there he goes. He must have not seen the vehicle. He's walking off into the sunset like a lost plane.
But you've got this back and forth between the press office at the White House being accused of changing the transcript of President Biden's garbage comment, and the transcribers take that job very seriously.
Now, I don't know if the handler is walking with Joe so Joe doesn't look so oatmeal brain right now, but truth be known, there is no destination for their walk. There's no other vehicles, any other planes, there's no reason for them to be cruising across the tarmac like that other than the fact that Joe's lost again, like he was on the White House lawn, had to be redirected out of the bushes back to the sidewalk. This is kind of the same thing. He made it down the stairs of the plane, no problem, but he missed the vehicle. Just kept on going, folks. Crazy enough, that's the fact, folks. That's who we've had running our country for the last 3.5 years, in theory. So, truth be known, is we know he ain't the one that's running the country. It's obviously the people that are designing the teleprompter reads and feeding him the tapioca pudding. Now, we do have some serious issues in the election process. We've got Pennsylvania issues, we've got Arizona issues, and we now have Georgia issues as well. And we're going to get into that definitely right off the bat. Now, it says urgent breaking. 4 Georgia counties decided at the last minute to accept ballots over the weekend in violation of the law. And they also refused to allow poll watchers to observe the process. This story broke this morning at noon, but it has been actually updated since then. What happened was, we'll start down here at the bottom. It says, Democrat officials in Georgia are playing fast and loose with election law. And this is from Michael Whatley, the RNC chair. Fulton, Cobb, DeKalb, and Gwinnett counties in Georgia decided at the last minute to accept ballots over the weekend, which disregards the law, and have also failed to let our poll watchers observe in watching the process. So they kick out the Republicans. We've seen this happen in Detroit and in Georgia before. with Ruby Freeman, kicking us out so they can do the nasty, and then bring us back in Monday with new results. We know exactly what's going on, folks. Says the registration manager is refusing to let poll watchers in the building. Do not let them in the building. They want to observe from the parking lot. You can't stop that, but they are not allowed to sit in the building, says the Fulton County registration manager. And now the Fulton County registration manager is in hot water because of the fine folks on Twitter, the citizen journalists that have brought this to not only Michael Watley's attention, but to Stephen Miller, Laura Loomer, or Laura Trump, and so many others. And it looks like, in threat of being sued, we have an update. Following our presser campaign at a press conference, our poll watchers have now been let into the building in all four Georgia counties. They exposed the fact of what was going on, being forced out, put it out there for everybody to know. All of a sudden, whoa, Georgia officials got to backtrack and let them in the doors. That's what I'm talking about, folks. That is real journalism, real exposure, working in real time to become a solution to a real problem. I love it, folks. That's great. That's a quick update on such a story. Started out as bad news, but by 3 o'clock today, it's been updated. We are now allowed to be in these polling places. They are going to count votes over the weekend, going to accept votes over the weekend at these particular locations. We got to have witnesses in the room. That's all there is to it. And I believe we've got that resolved immediately. I like that. Instant resolution. That's good stuff, folks. Now, no doubt about it, folks, we do have some election shenanigans going on in several states. I don't even really want to get into a lot of the things going on, but this is one of the things that really pissed me off. Now that Pennsylvania has closed the voter rolls for the early voting, all they've got now is election day, but it's after 7 p.m. last night, and voters are still waiting for their ballots. This was intentional in a county that recently flipped from blue to red. Livingston, Pennsylvania, otherwise known as Buck County. People literally sat out there from early morning to late in the evening, and then in the end, were having to come in the building in the dark, literally in the dark, to fill out the voting machine or to fill out their paperwork, their ballot. Sad situation, but it's absolutely the facts, folks. I hate to see it. They were doing us dirt. They're doing us dirty in Pennsylvania. We've got Elise Stefanik talking about it as well. Like I said, the swing states, they are going to do their best to cheat. I think it's going to be too big to rig, but we can't let up. You got to get everybody registered. Got to get everybody that's registered to vote to show up. And in certain states like Pennsylvania, they can show up today, register to vote, and vote all in one fell swoop. Please encourage everybody to go vote. All right, we're going to listen to Elise Stefanik here. She's accusing the Democrats of some alleged election interference.
To touch on the bombshell report from the Associated Press. In key targeted districts across the country, Democrats are illegally interfering in elections by recruiting shadow candidates to deceive voters and disrupt the will of the American people. These are blatant and unconstitutional attempts to undermine our democracy and election integrity. I want to touch on the bombshell report.
And there are several reports out of Pennsylvania, lights being turned out, people being turned away, fake poll watchers, 4 counties with excessive lines, and lines being cut off early. It's basically voter suppression in so many words, folks. That's the way I feel about it. It's a little bit aggravating, but we knew they were going to do it. They didn't get to do the full ballot harvest thing with the drop boxes with like the 2,000 mules like they wanted to this time. So they're trying every little direction they can to try to squeeze out a few more votes.
So Primetime's keeping an eye on early voting across the country. It hasn't been perfect with non-citizens on the voter.
And like Jesse Waters said, it hasn't been perfect. There is no doubt about it. We got non-citizens on the voter rolls. We've got shenanigans going on in several states. Hopefully, we're not having too many machine issues this year. Not that have showed up so far. Maybe a few, but one is too many at this point. But let's go ahead and listen to what Jesse Waters has to say about the whole election situation going on in Arizona.
Voter rolls, ballot boxes getting firebombed, and oh yeah, Republicans getting turned away before the polls close. But if you point that out, you're a bad guy.
Does it seem like this week Donald Trump is laying the groundwork for contesting the election by complaining that cheating was taking place in Pennsylvania?
We are news people, even though we have opinions, and we have to report the whole story if we bring up part of the story. So yes, he's upset about Bucks County, but he was right and he won in court. That's the story.
I don't appreciate being lectured about reporting when many times you come here saying lots of things that aren't
I won't
based
come
in
back,
fact.
Jonathan.
But
He said, fine, I won't be back on your show. You don't like being told you're wrong? I'm sorry. It's just the truth.
I'm done.
He just
Hugh
said, fuck
Hewitt
it.
quit his
I'm
job at
out.
the Washington Post today, live on the air, because they wouldn't let him tell the truth about what's actually happening in Pennsylvania. Those aren't the only shenanigans in the
Damn.
Keystone State, though. Last week, election officials in 3 different counties noticed stacks of fake registration forms piling up.
Lancaster County detectives began investigating the voter registration applications and immediately found applications that were indeed fraudulent. Indicators of fraud included inaccuracies with the addresses listed on the applications, false personal identification information, as well as false names.
And now we know who's behind it. A Democrat-aligned group from Arizona, Field Media Corporation, that works almost exclusively with anti-Trump outfits. Once the news broke, they wiped their website off the internet. We still don't know really the scale of this operation. This investigation is still ongoing.
Well, hopefully somebody got some screenshots of that particular voter organization before it disappeared. But truth be known, they're actually in Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania. They're in about 4 or 5 states. This is a pretty soaked in firm. But hopefully we can get some legislation going to get these folks prosecuted with a true bill for election fraud before it's over, because they are definitely pulling some shenanigans and they're trying in several states. Same plays, different ball game. We remember this stuff in 2020. They tried the exact same playbook. It's not working this time. They're getting exposed in real time. Now, this here is a little bit off the election news, but this is why we must go vote so these people don't get to control the country. These ladies look like they're just sitting here having a good old time, enjoying look like their breakfast and their coffee, but what do we got? We got a couple of Karens in the room enough to run breakfast.
So I called it right. So I called it right. And am I a liberal? Do I disagree? Are you a Democrat? Yes, I am. Okay. I'm the only people. So I work for the government. The only people who ever challenged me. The only people who ever. The only people who ever educated women. No, I'm a former educated. It means that you understand what someone is saying. Okay. I think we balance. Sex offender and accused of espionage, indicted for espionage. Like I said, the only people who ever challenged me are white Democrat women. I am a 35-year national security expert.
Oh, you're so smart.
Who you are, okay?
This liberal Democrat is a national security expert. Kind of funny. You're seeing a black woman here defending the conservative party, and you got 2 white Karen liberals over here trying to defend, I guess, the whole Democratic regime. Such a strange set of events that have happened this time, folks. We've got Democrats becoming Republicans. We got rhinos becoming Democrats. It's just crazy, folks.
Everybody can believe in what they want to believe.
No. Thank you. Will you tell her we were having a private conversation before she came over in my face saying, am I serious? So no, don't talk to me. Talk to her. You and I already know. You and I already know who is the warrant. Yeah, you and I already know. So take your attention right over here. Right over here. Denial. Watch out, lady. You're trying.
I wouldn't be getting up in people's faces, Miss Liberal.
You're trying me. Annetta. Why are you keep looking at me when she's the one agitating it? No. If you're going to be a mediator, then do it directly. Address the person who you clearly see got up and got in my face.
Must be one of them liberal woke coffee shops. Is it Starbucks, folks? It could be. You know, the people who work at Starbucks are not conservatives. They couldn't be. Not with the crowds they have to deal with. I couldn't imagine. All right, folks. Now, we do have boots on the ground, actually, in Pennsylvania, Levittown, Pennsylvania, one of the places we're having the shenanigan issues. And we've got none other than the recently released Peter Navarro on the ground. Showed up at the polling places to bring some light to this whole situation. Well, let's listen to that. I haven't heard any of this yet, so we'll get into it together.
In 22 in Arizona, they made it hard for people to vote. I mean, you can't. You're asking people to stand in line for hours. 10:30. That's just wrong. So, Peter, everything's just yeah, it's just wrong. This Hogan did in 22 in Arizona, they made it hard for people to vote. I mean, you can't.
It's Peter Navarro showing up saying how people are being disenfranchised for having to wait all day to vote. They're not making it easy for the Republicans to get out and vote this time, and they're making it really easy for the Democrats to slide those mail-in ballots all the way up to the last minute. You think this is by accident, folks? These seem like some really partisan situations that are going on. Can't be coincidence, like Steve Bannon says. Now, I thought this here was some really good news. Just pay attention, all state governors. You have the power to kick the DOJ out of these other 70-plus counties voting locations. Please repost this to Stephen Miller and the 49 other governors. What has happened, about 2 months ago, the Department of Justice told Ron DeSantis in Florida that they will be coming down there to monitor the polling places to make sure there's no shenanigans going on. And Ron DeSantis told him, no, that ain't what's happening. You have no authority here. You have no purpose in being here. Official election workers from the state, that's one thing. But Department of Justice, election monitors, that sounds like the federal government trying to come in and put their okey doke on the fact that if a county does have any shenanigans and you got a DOJ guy there saying, no, I seen the whole thing. There was nothing to see here. Well, then they're able to cover their ass for future reference if they do have shenanigans in those areas. I think it is a defensive mode kind of thing to do. But considering the Department of Justice is involved, they're scared that that Kamala is going to lose this election, and so they're trying to find a way to interfere. And Ron DeSantis told them how the cow ate the cabbage. DeSantis says, I am not letting the Kamala Biden regime fraudsters unit pull in any shenanigans in Florida election. Breaking Florida just issued a powerful message to the DOJ election monitors that they are not allowed inside any of the Florida polling locations. Now, take note, Governor Abbott, and all these 80-plus counties that are being set upon by the Department of Justice across the whole entire United States. It's mostly these big right-wing counties that they want to skew the election results, and maybe even some of these left-wing counties as well. But about 4 or 5 counties in several states, they have particular locations they're trying to set up on in order to give their side of the story at the least. But I'm glad to see that Ron DeSantis set the precedent to tell the DOJ, kick rocks. You don't have the ability. And just like that, it was done. More and more, I like Ron DeSantis. I don't think he should have applied for Trump's job, but I do think he's still a decent governor. No doubt about it. Now, this here is an active poll going on Twitter. Someone asked, Trump supporters, have you voted yet? How are you voting? And the respondents to the poll reply back with the state you live in. Now, some people did that, some people didn't. But truth be known, it was 170,000 people voted in the final results. 13% of the people have voted by mail. Some states are allowed, some states are not. Texas here, voting by mail is almost impossible. Voted early in person. That would be me, my wife, and hopefully a good percentage of the Republican Party. 55% have voted early, so that's good. That shows that the Republican Party is voting. At least half of them are voting early. 6% will vote early in person, just haven't done it yet because early voting is not finished in some states. So we're looking at 60% voted voting early, 13% already voted by mail, and that leaves 25.8% left to the tally, and they will be voting on election day. If 25% of just the people that are voting, that are conservatives, that are voting for Trump, if 25% of those people have not voted yet and they're going to show up on election day, like this particular poll shows, as far as it's skewed, 70% already done deal. The 25% left is going to be election day voting. If we get 25% of the Republican Party that haven't voted to show up on election day, it's over, folks. We will win because right now we are neck and neck in several states, ahead in several of the swing states. And if we surge at all on November 5th, we will win. And I do believe that's the way it's going to go down. I believe this number right here, this vote on election day, 25.8%, is the factor, the number we need to know that's going to get us over the top. This is the people that are, in theory, going to show up and win this election for us, the 25% of those that will be voting on election day. And this is not necessarily all 25% of all people voting, but just as a sample of 170,000 people voting in the final tally, the numbers are looking good. It looks like a quarter of the Trump supporters are voting on election day. And we know, as a rule, the Democrats don't vote on election day. They don't come out in full force like the Republicans do because they don't worry about the shenanigans. They mostly do the mail-in shuffle. And so I don't think we got too much to worry about as far as losing to the Democrats on election day. I'm more worried about the shenanigans that go on in these states. Like Arizona, like Pennsylvania, like Georgia, there's definitely some crap going on that we definitely got to get to the bottom of. No doubt about it. Now, I've got a couple more clips I want to bring to y'all today, folks, before I get out of here. Hopefully, everybody's having a great day out there. Hopefully, everybody's voted already or holding out for Election Day. Your choice. But in theory, I believe all of my supporters, all of my listeners will be voting if they haven't voted already. If you're listening to my channel and you're subscribed to my channel and you don't have any plan on voting, I don't know what you're doing here. And I don't mean to lose any subscribers, but that's just the way I feel about it. If you're willing to be activated on the internet, on YouTube, on X, on all these platforms in order to follow the news, but you don't care enough to actually show up and make your vote count, you're probably on the wrong channel. And that's just the facts, folks. Mark Halperin says his source on both parties say Kamala Harris is not doing well in Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona. Well, Georgia and Arizona, they're having their shenanigans because they're in a panic mode. Now, I don't know if you know who Mark Halperin is, but he's a news commentator, but he seems to be pretty good at understanding the polling and things better than a lot. And he had something to say that I believe is actually more accurate than most people realize. Here we go. Check it out, folks.
Okay. First of all, revelation for me today regarding the battleground states. It remains the base case that Vice President Harris is unlikely to win, according to my sources in both parties. Not sure thing, but unlikely to win Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. If she doesn't win those three states, she must
Virginia,
sweep Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. As forecast here a long time ago, it appears that she's basically back to where Joe Biden was on the eve of the debate. One electoral college path to exactly 270 electoral votes. So our intense focus for the rest of the way will be to continue to monitor to see whether she can actually win North Carolina, Georgia, or Arizona. Does not appear to my sources now that she will. Can she win the three Great Lakes states? And the focus has been on Pennsylvania. Here on this platform, we did a 2-hour show called It's All About Pennsylvania. And what I'm here to tell you tonight, based on my reporting with Democrats and Republicans nationally and in both those states, that it could be that Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania but loses the White House because she loses Wisconsin. Michigan remains a bit of a puzzle. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are doing dueling rallies near each other in Wisconsin tonight. Fitting, as far as I'm concerned, for my reporting, because as I said, my reporting is that she's in trouble in Wisconsin. This is based on 3 sources, 2 Republicans, 1 Democrat, all of whom know the state quite well, and all of whom told me today the same version of they would be somewhere between surprised and shocked if Kamala Harris won Wisconsin. Okay? Doesn't mean she's not going to. All I'm telling you is to reorient yourself away from news framing that says it's all about Pennsylvania. The winner of Pennsylvania will win this election. That's become kind of a mantra. The winner of Pennsylvania will win. I'm here to tell you, she may well win Pennsylvania and win the election, but she could win the Pennsylvania and lose the election because she doesn't win Wisconsin. Watch Wisconsin. Washington Post poll today of Pennsylvania, 48-47 Harris within the margin of error. On Message, a Republican firm did some polling. Put that tweet up, please. It's a Republican firm, but they're very good pollsters. Alex Castellanos can testify to that. Very friendly with them. You put that up? Poll tweet? Yes, maybe. All right. A bunch of polls that show Trump ahead, but margin of error stuff.
I like what he's saying. Hopefully he's right. He seems to have his ear to the ground as far as listening to the polls, seeing what's going on in the states, especially like Wisconsin. He's actually hearing from Democrats as well that Kamala doesn't look like she can pull off the state. The odds are, not just the poly market odds, but the odds are that Trump will win this minus the cheating factor. And so that's where we're at this point, folks. We're at minus the cheating factor. And so we're still trying to figure out how this thing is going to go down in the end. Let's see here. I guess I closed the tab. Now, bear with me, folks. I had a video I wanted to show y'all. Last but not least, something a little encouraging for on your way out the door today. Like I said, thank y'all for showing up. If you haven't liked, subscribed, shared any of that great stuff yet, go ahead and do that now. I do have one great little clip here for you. Bear with me, folks. I guess I lost it earlier. There we go. Latest Donald Trump video out today, and I think this will be a good closer. Here we go, folks.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us. America is a land of heroes. This is a place where greatness is born. Our ancestors settled the Wild West, lifted millions from poverty, disease, and hunger, vanquished tyranny and fascism, ushered the world to new heights of science and medicine, and we are making it greater than ever before. The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again. No matter the trials, no matter the challenges to come, we must keep freedom alive in our souls. That one nation, under God, must be the hope and the promise and the light and the glory among all the nations of the world. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. Now, folks, before I get out of here, I want to show you one thing that I did today. Happen to have this little trash can here. I got from a job one time, this little miniature trash can like you have out in front of your house curb. Well, in light of us being called trash this week, among being deplorable Nazis and so many other dumb women and everything else, this week from the Democrat Party, this piece of trash, otherwise known as Shannon Fox, the Voted Patriots 2 channel, voted for the real president, Donald J. Trump, this week. Just taking the trash out, folks. I'm ready for November 5th to come and go so we can eject those trashy Democrats out of our political arena. Like, subscribe, and share to Voted Patriots. Everybody have a great day. Over and out.